Getting to a 5.0 level in pickleball is not at all easy. It can take a very specific set of skills. So in this video, I'm gonna walk you through what I think are the top 3 most important skills to help you break through that barrier. So of course, if you're looking to get to the 5.0 level, you're gonna need to have all the basics down. You're gonna have to be able to dink, drop, drive, volley, block at a pretty high level. Today, we're gonna talk about some more specific things, specifically 3 things that if you're right on that borderline of 4.0, 4.5, getting to 5.0, these 3 things may push you over the top. So the first thing we're gonna talk about in what I think is probably the most important skill on the pickleball court, and that is counter-attacking from the kitchen line. So why do I think this is so important? Basically, the reason is if you can't counterattack and your opponents know you can't counterattack, then nothing else you do up here is gonna matter. Even if you're a better dinker, even if your drive is better, if you get to the kitchen line and your opponent knows that you struggle to counter their pace or speed ups, they're gonna do that every time and basically render everything else that you do useless. So this skill serves as basically the floor for the level of your game. If you're a 4.0 counterattacker, it's gonna be impossible for you to be anything higher than a 4.0, even if your other skills are great. It really helps me out if you subscribe so you can not only watch all my past videos, but see everything that I've got coming in the future. Okay, so we know why it's important. Now, how are we actually gonna get better at it? So the way I see it, there's really 2 skills involved in having good hands. First is your reaction time, which means how quickly you can read the ball off someone's paddle, decide where it's going, and then be able to react to it. The second is actually the technique of how you hit the ball. Is our swing too big? Is our follow through too big? Are we staying nice and compact? Are we staying controlled? All those things are kind of wrapped up into technique. If you'd like to learn more about this, I actually have a whole video dedicated to fast hands, so definitely go check that out. But the drill that we're gonna do to work on these 2 skills is pretty simple. It's gonna give us a lot of reps. You're gonna be at the kitchen line. You're gonna have a partner that's also at the kitchen line, and you're gonna volley back and forth. But to start off, you're gonna volley in a specific pattern, okay? So the first one you're gonna do is you're gonna go forehand to forehand. So my forehand volley goes to my partner's forehand volley. I'm gonna do that for about 2 minutes. The benefit of this is I don't have to worry about the reaction time of it. I can just, I know for the most part where the ball is gonna go. It's gonna go to my forehand. So I don't have to worry about reacting to it. I can just worry about the technique of what I want that forehand volley to look and feel like. Okay, so we got the forehand down. Now we're doing the same thing on the backhand side. Again, working on that backhand technique. Like I said, we're looking for nice compact positions. We don't want too big of follow throughs. We don't want to be thrown off balance. We don't want that take back too big. So nice and compact, nice, small, crisp swings. After that, then we're gonna go what I would call random. So you and your partner are gonna go, but the ball could go anywhere. So now we're trying to take that good technique that we practiced and add in reaction. So now I have to read the ball off the paddle, wait for it, and then actually react to the proper side, whether it's a forehand or backhand. I want to give a big thanks to my sponsor, Selkirk. Check out the link in the description below and you'll get a free gift card with your purchase. Okay, so the second concept we're going to talk about is dinking out of the air, taking the ball out of the air. The reason that I think this is crucially important is because typically a team is going to have a lot of success if they're controlling the kitchen line and controlling the space in here, okay? If every time the ball comes, I'm constantly kind of stepping back, playing back here, then I'm giving my opponents bigger windows to make mistakes. Versus if I'm dinking, I'm holding this line and reaching in, I'm controlling all of this space. I'm really only giving my opponent kind of this maybe 3 to 4 foot window to play into, which is shrinking their targets, making them more uncomfortable, and shrinking their windows to hit good shots. So when we do this, we want to learn to take the ball out of the air first, re-dinking it, okay? Because I see a lot of people take the ball out of the air, but when they take it out of the air, they're always trying to speed it up or flick it. We want to learn to re-dink it first, and then add the speed later. From a technical perspective, this is not a very difficult shot. What I think gives people problems with it is kind of the mindset. So when we're up at the kitchen line dinking, our mindset is thinking that the ball is gonna bounce. So if somebody hits me a shot, I'm thinking it's gonna bounce. I'm not really thinking about taking the ball out of the air. So if an opportunity comes to take the ball out of the air, I end up rushed, or I end up doing it as almost a second option. Or the biggest kind of tip I can give you for this is to flip that mindset. When your opponent's about to hit a ball, we wanna be thinking first, I'm gonna get this ball out of the air. What that's gonna do is it's gonna have us up to the kitchen line, it's gonna have us reaching in, and it's gonna have us thinking about taking the ball out of the air as the first option. If that doesn't happen, then you can easily move on to letting it bounce, taking a half volley, stepping it back, whatever you need to do. But it can't work the other way around. You can't think about letting it bounce and then decide, oh, I'm gonna take it out of the air. You're gonna be rushed and you're gonna miss them too much. So the drill that we're gonna do to practice this is pretty simple. I call it the full extension drill. We're gonna have one person who's just kind of dinking normally. They're not really trying to do this. And then myself, I'm gonna be trying to actively take everything out of the air. So this is what this is gonna look like. I'm gonna get right up to the kitchen line. I'm gonna get my body in good posture, good balance. I'm not gonna be too leaned over. And I'm gonna get nice and low using my legs. Now I'm gonna reach my paddle out to full extension, meaning all the way to my shoulder, again, without over leaning. And I'm just gonna try to stay and play out there. So anything that gets to my paddle at that position, I'm gonna intercept it out of the air. The only balls that are gonna bounce are balls that would bounce in front of my paddle. We're not allowing anything to bounce back here because you're gonna be intercepting it. And again, our goal here is very little movement. We don't want a lot of in and out. We don't want a lot of push. We just wanna stay at that extended position and bump the ball back. Okay, so for this third one, it's not really a specific skill, but more of an awareness of how we're gonna approach the game. And that is that we need to develop a weapon. So I think it's obvious to most people, or kind of the common narrative that I see is, if you have a weakness in our game, then we want to work on that or try to improve that. And of course, that's a great idea. You always want to try to shore up your weaknesses. But a lot of times we forget that we have strengths, and it should be your goal to play to your strengths. So if you're a power player, use that power. If you like to drive, you should be driving more. If you're really fast, you should be using your speed and trying to lengthen points. If you've got a nice patient mindset and you're calm, then we got to try to get in longer points and wear your opponents down. So you have to figure out what your strength is and then find a way to make points build on that strength. So for example, my strength is my forehand. My forehand drive, so I'm always gonna run around and look to find my forehand drive. At the kitchen line, my forehand dink and my forehand speed up off the bounce. Those are all things that I'm actively looking to get into a pattern, get into the types of points, or use my footwork to find those shots that promote my strengths and what I'm good at. This is especially important when games get down to crunch time. So if it's 9-9, you want to be finding the shots that you're most confident in and not trying to rely on that shot that you're just still kind of working on the practice court. Thanks guys, I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to grab your screenshot so you have all this information right at your fingertips next time you hit the court.